It's been a week since a dominant performance by the driver of the number 16, Evan Pienta, at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. Tonight, we come to Kansas. Second time this week we've been to Kansas here on ESPN, but this time it is with the United Sim Racing Association. Hello, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for joining us here this evening alongside with me. This is getting to be pretty common now. Tony Trapasso in the booth with me tonight. Tony, how you doing tonight, bud?
Anti-M, there's a twister coming.
Yeah, we are back in Kansas. So before we get into the qualifying, which is currently underway here at the moment. Well, there it is. Completely forgot about that. So let's just get right into qualifying then, shall we? Forgot that was completely incorrectly sized. As we're here tonight at Kansas, as I've mentioned, for the Husker Hounds 240, as you are seeing one Randy Bechtel on track right now. Bechtel now crossing the line for his second lap time, and pardon me, that might be his first. No, that was his second. Moves himself up into the seventh position. So, Tony, we've already seen a race here this week. However, it was in the Truck Series. Difference of cars, number one, and difference of scenario with those guys being towards the end of their season. And here we're just getting started.
It's a different scenario, but it's second verse, same as the first. You're still looking at a one groove racetrack. It's going to be the high line is going to pay dividends all race long. Tire wear is going to be very difficult to manage because you're going to burn the right front off this car very easily if you're not careful. But they're throwing a curveball at these guys tonight. They only got 5 total tire sets from the time the green flag drops to the time the checkers come out.
And there's going to be 166 laps here tonight. You just saw last week's winner and points leader, Evan Pienta, take his time, put himself in second position. So right now, as it sits, 1, 2, and 3 in qualifying are the 3 winners so far this season. As we have Chris Brown in the 1 on track right now on his first flying lap.
Yeah, Chris Brown, he's got to make some headway. He's had some iffy situations so far this season, but all things considered, he's still got plenty of time to turn the season right around.
Yeah, he certainly does. This season running all the way until about the middle of March. So there is plenty of time as he's actually trying to take a low line here. And these Cup cars, they have plenty of grip, just in the same way that the trucks had plenty of grip on Tuesday night. These things do have quite a bit of grip and might be able to make that inside line work for quite a while here tonight.
On fresh tires, yes, but this track is notorious for burning the right front off the car. And, the thing you really got to be mindful of is your tire management, because if you run that low line too long, the next thing you know, you're going to lawn dart into the safer barrier.
Chris Brown putting himself up into the seventh position as that, just like that, qualifying is done here at Kansas. So we'll take a look now at the starting grid for tonight's Husker Hounds 240 at Kansas. Jordan Smith and Evan Pienta will make up row number 1. Alex Huffman and Daniel Dill in row 2. Chase Barry and Ryan Jones making up row 3. Chris Brown, Jamie Leach in row 4. Row 5 will be Randy Bechtel and Roy Leemans. Had a very good run at Chicagoland, similar style track to this, so look for him to be strong tonight as well. Jeff Pogo and Corey Levitt on row number 6. Row 7 will go to Eric Holly and Troy Torgerson. Justin Winters and Aaron Diefler make up row 8, Tony.
Row 9 sees Tom Ogle and Matt McKeenan.
McMeekin.
McMeekin, sorry. I'll get it right sooner or later, Matt, I promise. Jason Young and Where are we here?
It's
Jason
Luke
Young
Lafaro.
and Luke Lafaro roll off in row 10. Lafaro, the last car to actually post a time in qualifying. Jeff Chandler and Rhett Tuckler are going to see row 11. Row 12, we see Steve Holmes and Jeff Winter. Clint Castleberry and Tom Cannon in row 13. 14 has Zach Calloway and Jonathan Leach. Or for those of you who watch on Sunday nights, that's Christopher Jonathan Leach. Uh, Jared Hagedorn and Dale Elan Jr. going to roll off in row 15. Row 16 sees Larry Poling and Mike March. So 32 cars scheduled to roll off here tonight. And they're already crashing on pit road.
So that's a great start for tonight. As you can see, a vast majority of that inside lane is not there. I'm going to try to take a look and see who's back there. Looks like the 30 of Winters might have a little bit of damage on his car already.
Jason Young was just given an EOL, and that may have been what messed everybody up.
That could have been it. And we might add another pace lap here to the beginning of this race. Doesn't look as though that's going to be the case, as the drivers at the back of the field, primarily on the inside line, trying to work their way up to their starting positions.
And Chris Brown just got an EOL too, so.
So right here, drama already before this race even goes green. Pace car is off. Jordan Smith leads them down, and we are green flag racing here at Kansas.
Arguably one of the ugliest starts I've seen in a long time, as all the way back in 14th position, they're already 3 wide.
Back to that, that's Cody Levitt in the 3. You saw on the outside lane, blinking just a little bit. One of the cars bailing out on the inside line. There's Troy Torgerson in the 98, a little bit of a different scheme for what we're used to seeing the driver of the 98 run. Very nice looking navy colors on that Ford, unfortunately.
Yeah, sharp looking car. The only thing is Cody Levitt's got to be careful right now, because he's rocking a 4-digit ping and blinking in and out something bad. And I kind of feel for the guys that are driving around him, because that's not something you want to see, especially at the tight confines of the Kansas Motor Speedway.
Is certainly not what you want to see. There, right in the middle of your screen, there is last week's winner. But boy, oh boy, there's a battle for the lead. 3 wide for the lead. Alex Huffman on the outside. The pole sitter, Jordan Smith, in the middle. Randy Bechtel in the number 29 on the inside lane. It's going to be Smith out of the middle, making it through. Meanwhile, the 25 of Huffman has that car wound up on that outside lane. He's going to give Bechtel all he could ask for.
And that's what we're going to see all night long here at Kansas. You're going to see that outside lane be able to carry more momentum. The inside lane is a short way around, but with the progressive banking that they have here, you can carry enough extra speed on that second lane, sometimes third lane, to be able to make passes happen or fend off somebody that's challenging for you. As we've got a battle for the lead heating up as Huffman throws to the inside of Smith as they haul it down the back straightaway.
Yeah, and we're already seeing it a lot quicker than we saw in the Western States race on Tuesday night. These guys are already running that outside line, wall riding. Huffman able to get that great run coming out of turn 2 and make the pass. However, Jordan Smith is not done with him. Remember, Jordan Smith winning the season opener in Michigan. The very next week at Chicagoland, Alex Huffman winning that race. So these two guys already locked into a playoff scenario, racing it out.
Absolutely, and you would think that there's only 5 laps to go instead of only being 5 laps in the books, with the amount of slide jobs and overtakes that we're seeing this early in this event. These guys are just flat getting it while the getting's good, because they've got, the tires are just getting up to temperature now. You've got maximum grip in the car as far as this is as good as it's going to get. And, everybody's trying to get what they can before the tires start to wear off and it goes full-blown single file.
Yeah, Alex Huffman right now giving that 24 everything he could possibly ask for as he goes to the inside in turn 1, goes right down to that bottom And if you get the move up, just as he did there, it's going to get him clear, but the 24 is going to have the run, and that's something we're going to see all night. But fortunately for Huffman, he got out far enough ahead of that 24 to be able to keep it on to be able to keep that lead going into turn 3.
Just barely able to get it. And meanwhile, the battle for six starting to heat up between Jamie Leach and Dan Dill. Those guys have been in lockstep since the green flag came out.
Running on that inside lane is Daniel Dill. This is the first time we've really seen Daniel Dill up towards the front. As you saw, Bechtel just kiss the wall down the back straightaway. Nothing too severe. But this is the first time we've seen Daniel Dill really up front since he finished on the podium at Michigan in the opening race of the year. Nice to see that 81 back up here towards the front.
Easy to pick him out tonight too with the bright colors on that one. As
also easy to pick him out since he's the only one running the inside.
That too. Well, he's the only one running as far down as he is. Finally gets the pass cleared on Leach. As Leach starting to fall back now as he's now battling with Ryan Jones for the, I believe that's the 9th position they're battling it out for.
Yep, that's the 7th position that Leach and Jones are side by side for right now. Jeff Pogo, who was involved in an early accident 2 weeks ago at North Wilkesboro, put an end to his night incredibly early up here in the top 10. Running in the 9th position is the driver of the number 4. And Pogo certainly looking for a rebound race here after completing only about 30 laps at Wilkesboro 2 weeks ago.
Absolutely, as don't look now, but a familiar name that we've seen run up front a lot this season already. For that Denver Mattress number 74, Roy Lehman starting to make his presence felt as he is currently working on the back of Eric Holly.
Oh, and Holly's in the wall, and that's something we're going to see all night long as Holly wall rides all the way through 3 and 4, and not in a good way. Fortunately for him, it wasn't a slam. It was just essentially sanding that right side down. But we're going to see that all night long. These guys really cannot afford to put a foot wrong, and when they're as close to danger as they are, you have to be inch perfect all night long if you want to win this thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the way it's starting to be all throughout the iRacing servers. Is the level of talent across all leagues is starting to really up their game, and it's going to take a spot perfect run and a little bit of luck if you want to come home with the checkers.
We got a lot of people running a little bit different looks. Holly does have a different look. We already talked about Troy Torgerson in that number 98 Navy Ford sitting behind him. And boy, Holly's really still flirting with that wall. And that's where the line is around here. And because of that progressive banking, we talked about it ad nauseum during the Western States race on Tuesday night. But this is the kind of racing that this progressive banking has created, to where that inside line is very detrimental to the tires. That outside line being the most banked part of the circuit, really the only way to get around here if you want to be consistent.
Absolutely, and you know, that's something that these guys really need to be mindful of, is while you do need to run that outside line, if we can get a gyro cam shot from one of the cars in traffic, and I want you to pay attention to how turn 3 comes up, because as they go through the green striped American Ethanol back straightaway, that's concrete. And then it fades into the safer barrier, and where that safer barrier starts to jet out, it's very easy to get it all wrong. And speaking of getting it all wrong, Dan Dill is dropping spots left and right here. I'm thinking he may have caught that wall.
And Dill right now stuck in the middle of a group you do not want to be stuck in. They're 3 wide in front of him right up until Luke LaFaro jumped in front of Eric Holly. And somewhat surprising, because Dill was running that inside lane. He may have found his way up to that outside, and because he's not used to running it, really put himself in danger.
Let's see if I can see what happened. Yeah, the 74 Lehman's got to his inside. Oh, and got into him.
Let's see, I think we just found the replay here. Yep, there's the 74. Yep, there you go. That's what happened there. That's what got the 81 out of control. As you can see, back to live action here. They've got it sorted out, but still a nice gaggle of cars here right in the middle of this pack. Starting at Luke Lafaro, this is pretty much in the 13th position here.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And these guys are running just as hard for the 13th position as they would be if it was for the first position. Meanwhile, up at the front of the field, you got Huffman, Smith, Bechtel, Barry, and Pinta rounding out your top 5. Ryan Jones knocking on the door to get into the top 5, and he's got Roy Lehman's with him.
And I will say it, I do apologize for not telling you before race, but it's kind of a little hectic here pre-race. Evan was actually kind enough to message me prior to the race. It's Pienta is how you pronounce the last name.
Pienta. Okay.
Pienta, yes. So there he is. There is Evan Pienta. Fortunately, has his connection issues fixed from last week. He was blinking out a lot, which is why, well, other than the fact that he was a mile up the road from anybody else, that was a major reason as to why we didn't show him last night was his connection quality. Seems to have gotten that righted as he's at the back end of this top 5 group here.
Absolutely. He's that top 5 really starting to stretch their legs right now, as there is almost a full second gap between Pienta and Jeff Pogo.
It's almost like watching a race at Talladega. These guys are lined up on that outside lane. On the bottom there, you see the number 23 of Thomas Ogle. He was the points leader heading into 2 weeks ago at North Wilkesboro, the last race. He now finds himself 14 points out of the lead. And right now, with the way the points currently sit after the first 3 races, it's that big 14-point gap between Pienta and Ogle. Ogle has an 8-point gap back to Alex Huffman, and then between Huffman, Chris Brown, Eric Holly, Troy Torgerson, and Randy Bechtel, only 4 points separating those guys, with Brown, Holly, and Torgerson all tied at 180 points.
And right now, Brown, after taking that EOL after qualifying, mired back in 23rd position.
Trying to get back to Chris Brown. There he is, the red number on the top of his number 1 Chevrolet. A very nice start here. We had that little incident on pit road that we unfortunately missed. Ooh, as McMeekin goes sliding out of turn 4. That's going to allow Chris Brown to make his way onto the inside of that 14. Unfortunately, might not be able to get that move done. He's clear of him. He's not going to be able to hold it, though, as that car got really loose coming out of turn 2.
Absolutely, it did. And he's going to lose another spot as Tommy Cannon shoots on by him. Pun intended.
And again, that's the nature of racing here at Kansas. And for guys that like to race, I mean, really race, this is not the racetrack for them, as the 25 of Alex Huffman, while we were looking in the back of the field, must have gotten into the wall. He's fallen all the way from 2nd to 5th, about to lose the 5th position, actually. Jeff Pogo, there he is on the inside lane. Oh, Pogo, big time loose out of 4.
Yeah, and you can see the quarter panel damage on the 25 of Huffman, as Pogo needs to get back up into that high groove, because that car is not liking that low lane at all.
Somebody in the wall in that outside lane. Might have been Torgerson. I think it was Torgerson. Oh, no, actually, it was Rhett Tucker who was just in the wall. Let's see if we can get a replay as to what happened there. He got hit
he
by
had
Diefler.
help.
Yeah, he got hit by Aaron Diefler. You just saw that there. Fortunately for him, only losing the 2 spots, at least at the time. Zach Calloway does end up getting around him. But Rhett Tucker already a little bit of help from that 41 damage now.
Yeah. And, Tucker was not having the greatest night to start with, but that just made his night a whole lot more difficult. As these are some of the leagues that we're showing nowadays. Is they don't have a fast repair, so depending on how much damage is on that. Okay, so he's got the wrong Yeah, I was gonna say he's got the wrong transponder in that car. We need to talk to the head tech official about not drinking before the race.
Sorry.
But
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, depending on how much damage there is, it could be anything from just sheet metal all the way up to a bent track bar, and if it's a bent track bar, good luck.
Yeah, it becomes a very slippery night. In that case, the 24 of Jordan Smith still leading this race. Randy Bechtel in second place. Chase Barry in that brightly colored number 11 is sitting in the third position now. Chase Barry, one of the guys we don't really talk about much on a normal basis here in this series, having a very, very good night here in the early going at Kansas.
Absolutely, and that Scooby-Doo inspired number 11 tonight.
I was going to say, it did look somewhat familiar.
Yeah, it's kind of got the whole Mystery Machine vibe to it. So, sharp-looking car. A lot of sharp-looking cars here tonight under the lights here at Kansas. Some of these guys are, changing it up, throwing something a little different at us. So it's not the easiest thing for, those of us up in the broadcast booth here to, wait a second, no, that car doesn't look right.
I will say the car, my favorite car, and we've seen it already a couple of times this season, though. The 29 of Randy Bechtel. There's something about that candy apple red with that chrome underlay, at least that it looks like that he has, that really pops under the lights. It looks absolutely phenomenal. I love that car.
It's not a full-blown chrome either. It's just kind of a light metallic addition. So, it definitely got a good look to it. But those of you watching in the streams right now, go ahead and let us know what your favorite paint scheme is in the chat.
We've seen quite a bit of them in that Jimmy Johnson inspired number 24 Lowe's machine leading the race here so far.
That just seems weird. I'm sorry.
Well, it's not. It does look weird, but knowing who owned that car, it's really not all that out of place.
Right, but it's you don't associate the actual number 24 with that sponsor. So, but while you're in the chat, let us know which one you would like to see turned into a diecast model. And while we're talking about diecast, now would be a good time to bring up our very good friends over at Diecast Nuts.
It would be, Tony.
So our friends over at Diecast Nuts, it's a community-driven forum for all things diecast: motorcycles, trains, boats, planes, race cars, you name it. If you name it, it's available in diecast. They want to talk to you about it. It's a place where you can buy, sell, trade, just share your collection, for the world to see. Like, hey, look what I got. And we're sideways. Here we go.
That was Evan Pizza. We had just gone on board with Alex Huffman. What a fantastic
How did he save that?
Job by Evan Pienta to make that save. Boy, oh boy, he had the 74 of Lehman's all over him and was somehow, some way able to make that save. What a job there.
That car was pointed at a 90-degree angle towards the infield.
Absolutely was. And you saw Lehman's there.
Wow.
Get a little loose under the 16 that pushed him up the track. and got that 16 going wild. But boy, oh boy, what a save! Not just by Pienta, but by Lehmans as well. Unfortunately, they're going to take a huge hit for that. Pienta down to 14th and Lehmans down to 16th, but it's a lot better than losing a race car.
Absolutely. I mean, that's arguably save of the century right there. To be that far gone sideways and be able to collect the car back up. Evan Pienta just did an amazing job, and for his credit, Roy Lehmans did a good job as soon as he realized he was into Pienta to not just finish him off. So gentleman driving going on there too as well.
Absolutely. 37 working on our 37th lap of this event, still running caution free here at the Husker Hounds 240 at the Kansas Speedway. You're seeing the points leader Evan Pienta, after one heck of a save that he just made trying to work on the 0-2 of Clint Castleberry, who's another guy we really haven't talked about much since the opening race at Michigan. And boy, oh boy, these guys are getting wild up here, as that was the 25 of Alex Huffman, who was going a little bit slower down the middle. And now 3 high Diefler in the middle of a 3-wide scenario with Rhett Tucker. Boy, oh boy, they're getting close.
Well, Huffman gave him a shot coming down towards the start-finish line, and Huffman had to chase down the hill. Pogo gave Huffman a shot, and that's kind of what started that whole chain reaction of them having to go 3 wide, because there were people trying to take evasive action, people trying to cold trickle it.
And you can see the front end damage on the number 41 right there. That was the incident earlier on with Dan Dill that gave the 41 the front end damage that he currently has. Is that 25?
It looks like it ate a lemon.
Yeah, yes, that 25 still not able to bring it back up to the top. He was leading at one point, and speaking of leading, we do have a change for the lead, as Randy Bechtel has now taken the lead away from Jordan Smith, who now resides in the 3rd position.
Yeah, something probably happened to Smith there, is what I'm thinking. Let me go back and look. Oh yeah, on the previous lap, he brushed the wall coming to on the exit of 4. Just kind of brushed it, scrubbed off some speed, and that's where he lost the 2nd position to Chase Berry.
We'll try to get this here in a second. Having a time trying to find this this pass here.
Anyways, like we were talking about before, okay.
Here's the battle. Here's the pass for the race lead.
And we got Green Flag pit stop starting already.
Yeah, we believe we do. As there is Randy Bechtel. Yep, Troy Torgerson in. Pulling in. Ryan Jones in as well. There's Jones coming out of pit road. As you were 100% right, Tony. Green flag stops in the middle.
So while we're, as I started to say, our good friends over at diecastnuts.com, all your diecast needs all in one place. They do have a shop area that you can peruse their wares for that special gearhead in your life's holiday present. And there's some custom garage signs that they have there that you won't find anywhere else. So you can find it at facebook.com/diecastnuts, and that's nuts with a Z, or diecastnuts.com.
So we are very, very proud to have them on board with us as a sponsor. We'll show you a little bit of a promo for them a little bit later on here tonight. As you'll see, the driver, the number 55, this is Zach Calloway. Calloway did not take a time, running in the 4th position right now, has done a fantastic job in that number 55, getting up to the front on his own merit. That 55 is quick here tonight.
That's one of those. He's one of those drivers that he's obviously come from the short tracks in the super late model division or in the regular late model division where, wow, that almost got ugly. Jeff Pogo flirting with disaster going through 1 and 2, but obviously has come from the late model divisions where they do a lot of racing at Indianapolis Raceway Park and Irwindale Speedway. And this is the line you've got to run there. You've got to be sucked up right against that outside retaining wall at both those tracks if you want to make any headway.
Seeing guys coming through pit lane right now. You just saw the leaders in pit road. There is the 4, I believe the 48 of Jonathan Leach has had a pit road speeding penalty. He is still in his box. There he is in that Chryserade number 48.
Yeah, he may have been running late tonight and forgot to update his paint scheme.
It might have done. As now here comes the effective race leader. This is Daniel Dill coming into pit road now. And with this, the green flag cycle of pit stops is pretty much over with. And Ryan Jones has come out with a pretty decent sized lead here in this number 91. So Jones getting out well in front. As you can see back there, that's Jordan Smith back in the 6th position now, battling 3 wide with Bechtel and Hagedorn, able to make that move and now trying to get under the 98 of Troy Torgerson. So Jones, by pitting early, now inherits the race lead and has about a 2-second gap back to the group you're seeing.
He may have also only taken 2 tires.
Now it's a 15-second stop.
Okay, then so, yeah, good on him. And a lot of bright colors on that car tonight. I mean, I'm loving the way that Ford Mustang's looking.
Yep, there is the race leader, the driver of the number 91, Ryan Jones. We've seen him competitive in a lot of races. Well, in the 3 races we've seen so far this season, it's the first time we're getting to see him get out and lead. But he might want to relish it while he can, because that 24 is on the move.
The 24 is on the move, but he still has to. Well, he did just clear the 3 of Cody Levitt, who, Levitt's another one of those guys that he's been caught up in other people's dumpster fires, and we haven't really seen what that car can do yet this season.
We're not really seeing much of him right now at all, period, as he keeps blinking out on our screen. Troy Torgerson and Randy Bechtel. Bechtel, who was the race leader going into this round of pit stops, has now fallen back into the 5th position. And Jordan Smith and this group behind Ryan Jones have started to close the gap in about the 3 or 4 laps they've been on track. Smith has clawed back about 1.2 seconds on that number 91.
And if you're Ryan Jones right now, you're just trying to hang on to it and make sure that you can get it to come home. Because, I mean, he's another one of those guys that we've seen flashes of brilliance out of the entire 91 team this year. But just victim of circumstances in the first 3 races of the season, and that's another driver that we haven't really seen what he can do.
Outside there,
Mike Leach.
Lapped. That was Mike. You're right, Mike Leach.
Mike March.
Mike March. Sorry. 21. As now Jordan Smith goes that inside line with a big lunge, and he's been able to make up a lot of ground on that inside lane when he does make that dive. The battle for the race lead here between the 91 and the 24. Jones going to hang on to that outside lane. And that was March in the wall in the 21, but a good run by the 24 on exit of turn 2. Should have the lead going into turn 3. He'll make that dive to the inside lane and clear the 91, new leader 24.
Yeah, you kind of figured it was only going to be a matter of time with how quickly he was reeling Jones in. But Jones is not giving up. Matter of fact, gives him a little bit of the chrome horn as they haul it off into turn number 1. And Jordan Smith hangs on. Smith hangs on. Jones backs off a little bit.
And that's Randy Bechtel, who just took over the third position from Troy Torgerson. And that's something we've seen all night long, and something that if you're going to make a move on the inside lane around here, you really have to prepare for, because you're not going to have the speed, you're not going to have the momentum coming from the inside line to the outside on corner exit. You have to be ready to defend. And for the 24 of Jordan Smith, he was ready to defend there and was able to keep that 91 behind him. Now the 91 is going to come under heavy fire from the 29, who is certainly fast.
And the 29 has been fast everywhere we've gone so far this season. But it's one of those deals, especially here at Kansas, a little bit at Chicagoland, but more here at Kansas more than anywhere else that we're going to see this season. You really have to drive this track with the mindset of a dirt racer. And what I mean by that is there's what they call the air quote slide job line, where you just throw it into the corner and just keep your foot in it, let the car come up, and you give the guy that you're racing with the choice. Either they're eating the outside wall or you're both crashing. Normally, self-preservation tells you, okay, I'm going to hit the brakes so I don't eat the outside wall.
Certainly the case here, as the 29 of Bechtel and the 98 of Troy Torgerson were able to get around the 91 of Ryan Jones. A 6-car breakaway up at the front, and those guys have about a 2.5-second gap to Jeff Pogo, who leads the group behind him with Aaron Diefler, Evan Pienta, and I would say Cody Levitt's hanging on to the back end of that group as well. So these guys here, after the green flag pit stop, cycle through here, working lap 57. Still not a caution here tonight. These guys getting strung out, and we're seeing groups forming here as these guys try to work that outside lane.
We've seen this week in and week out. I mean, cautions are very rare wherever these guys go. I'm expecting something a little different when we finally get to the half miles, but all things considered, these guys have just put on great shows week in and week out so far. So I'm not surprised that we're coming up on coming up on 60 laps, and we have yet to see that dreaded "I'm not saying it."
And we went, I want to say about 140 laps at Chicagoland without a caution. We ended up we had a caution, I believe it was on the first lap at Chicagoland. Maybe one shortly after that, and then not a caution to be seen until we got into green-white checkered territory, and we saw what happened at the end of that race.
Yeah, that was fun.
We're seeing a replay just minus the early caution right now. As you're watching the battle for the lead, Jordan Smith, Randy Bechtel, Chase Barry has gotten around Troy Torgerson in the 98, and now that those four have gotten out in front, Ryan Jones and Clint Castleberry starting to fall off of that group. One group that is very much bunched up together is this group right here, led by the 55 of Zach Calloway. He has Justin Winters in the 52 right behind him. Jeff Chandler, Luke LaFaro battling there as well, as you see Cody Levitt coming into pit road. And Alex Huffman, who we saw have a big moment earlier on in the race with Roy Lehmans back there as well. These guys all battling towards the back end of this field here. Currently running in the 14th and 15th positions, respectively, for Huffman and Lehmans, as Rhett Tucker gets into the wall again.
And this just in, Cody Levitt has put it on the hauler.
Early retirement for Levitt in the number 3. Saw him leading not that long ago. Speaking of leading, we have a battle for that race lead, as Randy Bechtel has taken the race lead away from Jordan Smith, with Chase Barry still sitting in third. So Randy Bechtel, again, who was leading going into the the green flag pit stops, now back in front as Jordan Smith might have used up a lot of that car trying to catch up to the number 91 of Ryan Jones right out of the gate.
Well, it seems like we're seeing a replay of what we saw during the first tire run. Um, you know, as the run goes in, we're about 20 laps into this run so far. Bechtel's car wakes up, and so does Chase Berry's. They seem to have a little bit different set in their car than Jordan Smith is running, and you're seeing it now as Bechtel, he's starting to stretch his legs. He's out to a half second to the good already, as Berry working the inside of Smith, not able to make it happen off of 2, going to try it again off of 4.
Yeah, Chase Berry trying desperately to get around that 24 because he could see Randy Bechtel is just running away. And now we saw this out of Randy Bechtel 2 weeks ago at North Wilkesboro as well. That once the run got long and once he got some wear on those tires, that 25 came alive and really started to fly.
And that's where you can tell who the drivers are and who's just a steering wheel holder. When you have to really start working on, your braking point has to be spot perfect, and your throttle control has to be spot perfect. We're starting to see, okay, who are the guys that when you have no mechanical grip from the tires anymore, and it all comes down to driver skill. We're seeing guys like Bechtel and Berry and Torgerson, and those guys start to climb towards the front. Jordan Smith is a damn good driver. Right now, Randy Bechtel is showing he's just that much better of a driver at this moment in time.
And this little trio here of Smith, Berry, and Torgerson right now is actually being caught up by this trio here of Ryan Jones, Clint Castleberry, and Jeff Pogo. Coming on to the back end of this group now is Aaron Diefler in the 41. That leaves Evan Pienta, pardon me, 3 weeks of training. Pienta now kind of have broken away from Callaway. It's trying to get up to Diefler.
We just had a change for second place as Chase Berry did the perfect slide job move coming off of 4, as you can see Jordan Smith struggling if he's got to go low. He's going to try the same move, but he's not going to be able to make it happen as the 98 of Torgerson throws it to the inside, and Torgerson not able to make it stick, but does throw the block on Smith, and Smith's not able to get back by Berry, and Berry's starting to walk away.
Berry got a very good run out of turn 4, now trying to make that number 11 work, trying to catch up and try to make up that 1.4 second gap to the race leader, Randy Bechtel. As we talked about it before, Ryan Jones fell right off this front group and now is starting to make his way back towards him. That pair that we were talking about him just being with, of Jeff Pogo and Aaron Diefler, Clint Castleberry as well, he's walked right away from those guys.
And I'm thinking that Pogo's another one that he's shown time and time again. Jones in the 91 has shown time and time again, much like Bechtel. Once you get he's garbage on good tires. You get compared to some of the other guys around him.
So
he really shines when you get him on old tires.
So to put that into perspective, he's a driver like me who's already, once I get a brand new set of tires, I'm already thinking, okay, I really have to make these last about 40 or 50 laps, so I'm not going to run the wheels off of this thing right away to try to build up a lead. I may fall back at the beginning of this run, but I know when my tires start coming in towards the back end of a fuel run, I'm going to start marching my way up the field. I'll be the quickest car on the circuit.
Well, it's not that your tires are going to come in. It's the fact that your tires aren't going to fall off, like a guy like Jordan Smith in the 24, who's just going to go, 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 go while he can. Jones, Bechtel, Barry, Torgerson. Those are guys that are in this for the long game, or they play long ball, like I like to call it, where you're not looking for a 15 lap sprint, hope for a caution. No, you're looking for a nice long green flag run, 30, 40, 50 laps, and just let the race come to you.
Who said racing on an oval was nothing but just turning left?
Every Formula One fan I've ever met.
There's some thinking involved here. And speaking of thinking, I'm thinking that Evan Pienta is getting around Clint Castleberry here. This would be for the 8th position, but Castleberry has that car loose and wound up on that outside lane, is able to hold off the charge from the points leader Pienta.
So let me pose this question to you.
Yes.
If oval racing is so easy,
Ooh. Castleberry's loose, man.
Very loose, and and for those of you wondering what we're talking about when we say loose or tight, tight is when you put the car into the wall nose first because the car doesn't want to turn. Loose is when you put the car into the wall back bumper first because the car is wanting to swap ends. Horsepower is how fast you're going when you hit the wall, and torque is how far you take the wall with you when you hit it.
Oh, Pienta just had a big slide coming out of turn 2. Only going to lose one spot to Jeff Chandler, though, and another great save from Pienta.
Absolutely. I mean, he's putting on a clinic on how to save race cars, but I'm thinking that his team may have missed on the setup tonight. But anyways, getting back to what we're talking about, if oval racing is so dang easy to all the Formula One faithful that have ever said, "Oh, it's just turning left,"
my goodness.
what about your boy in the Indianapolis 500 that he's done 3 of them so far? Where's his Where's his easy victory?
Okay, well, Alonso should have won his first time out, but go figure, it was the McLaren Honda engine that let him down. He did not attempt to run the second one, and I think he failed to qualify for the third one.
So I ask again, if oval racing is so easy, why is Fernando Alonso's picture not on the Indianapolis 500 victory trophy?
He certainly, I was about to say he certainly won't have it on there next year since he's going to be driving with Renault, but having a Formula One ride hasn't stopped him from running an Indy 500 before, so who knows.
And there's still talk that has not been confirmed yet. A prancing pony might just show up at Indy.
Yep. I am 100% in for that as Pienta. We're seeing Pienta lose a couple of spots here with his loose condition. Also trying to stay off of the 0-2 of Castleberry with his loose condition. Not missing much up at the front. It is still Randy Bechtel leading Chase Barry. However, instead of a second and a half, Barry has now closed that down to 1 full second to Bechtel. Torgerson and Ryan Jones have gotten around the 24 of Jordan Smith here in the latter stages of this run. And we're seeing a little bit of front end damage on that number 24 of Jordan Smith. See if we can get this camera to turn around there. You can see that front end damage. Boy, I wish I had a telestrator. That would be fun.
He has beaten the ever-loving tar out of the back bumper of the 98 of Troy Torgerson.
Yeah,
I was kind of keeping an eye on that one.
Yeah, Torgerson certainly does have a lot of rear end damage. That's also from earlier in this race, so it's not all from the 24 beating and banging off of him. But then there's about 2 seconds back to Jeff Pogo. Jeff Chandler, who's really been making strides up towards the front of the field. This is a guy who we saw a little bit of at North Wilkesboro 2 weeks ago. He was somewhat hanging around at Chicago. And my goodness, watch out for cars exiting pit lane.
Well, we're into another round of green flag pit stops, so.
And that was That was
Good
Jonathan
luck.
Leach. That was Jonathan Leach, who might be getting a pit road penalty now for not for speeding on entry this time, but for unsafe pit exit. Not waiting until he got out of. Not waiting
No,
until.
he wasn't coming out of the pits.
Oh, he wasn't coming out of the pits. Okay, so
He
never
was
mind.
coming out of the grass after chasing it down the hill coming off of 4.
Well, there you go. It's been an interesting night for our broadcast partner up in the 48 car.
Yeah, absolutely. And I dare say that he'd have better luck if he ran the other paint scheme that I know he's got for that car.
Because it's all the paint scheme, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Especially the racing stripes. The racing stripes gives you an extra 3 or 4 horsepower, right?
Oh, no, it's the teeth on the front of the car.
Oh, it's the T. Oh, okay. As we're seeing a lot of green flag pit stops here. Clint Castleberry in, Jeff Pogo in, Ryan Jones in, Troy Torgerson coming in, Evan Pienta coming in. So a lot of guys. Rhett Tucker in as well. So this green flag pit cycle has really as well and truly started, and now we're waiting on the 2 leaders here to see when they are going to come in, because they right now have a 6-second advantage on Jeff Chandler because everybody else behind them has come into pit road.
And we've seen already tonight that the undercut does work quite effectively here, as that was what gave Ryan Jones the lead of the race for a short time, and getting them all those all-important bonus points for leading some laps.
There's Eric Holly having a little bit of an issue on the transition onto the apron, gets down and into his pit box in time. I think the 16, I think, of Pienta might have had a pit road speeding penalty. He is still stopped in pit road. The 24 might have had one as well. These pit roads, especially coming off of the banking that you're coming off of, as Randy Bechtel here looks as though he's going to come in. He's taking the inside line here through 3 and 4. Chase Barry doing the same. It is very hard on old greasy tires to get these cars woed up in time to make a 55 pit road speeding limit?
Yes, and I'll tell you right now exactly what happened to Pienta. Blasted the commitment cone.
So unsafe pit entry.
Yeah.
That's what he gets nabbed for. Seeing the leaders into pit road. Zach Calloway inherits the race of the lead. Here he is in the 55. Running that outside lane as that is Mr. McMeekin behind him. Now, Matt McMeekin, we talked about him a lot at North Wilkesboro. He really unfortunately has not been a factor here tonight, and that's a part of the reason is he did not take qualifying in that number 14.
Didn't take qualifying in the 14, and you take a look at the line that he's running in that U.S. Navy number 14. He doesn't seem like he's all that comfortable running that ultra high line where you really need to turn and burn at this track. And the line that he's taking going into 1, he's not allowing himself to arc, and he's just killing so much speed that through 1 and 2 that he's struggling.
It certainly does take some time in getting used to, especially when you're brought up your entire life learning that the inside line is the fastest line around any given racetrack because it's the shortest line. It certainly does take a little bit of recalibrating and retraining and a lot of practice to be able to run up right on the wall here and try to find a lot of speed.
And it's not the easiest thing to do. And
Zach Calloway.
sorry. I was just looking at what's going on with Cannon right now. As Leach eats the wall, and Tommy Cannon coming into the pits.
We just saw the previous lap. Zach Calloway came into the pits. There's Tommy Cannon, who was effective race lead. Now here's Randy Bechtel, who's going to keep the overall race lead. He has Chase Barry behind him, but look who's even behind Chase Barry. Ryan Jones in that number 91. Might have said, you know what? Maybe I didn't push as hard as I could have on that last run. Pushing a little bit harder here in that 91, up to the third position right now.
He's probably looking at what his tire wear is doing and realizing that, okay, I'm going to run out of fuel before I run out of tires during this run. And it usually takes a stop or two to get it figured out. So probably realized, okay, I can go a lot harder than I have been, and he's turned the wick up a little bit.
Jeff Pogo in there as well, so definitely penalties for the 24 of Jordan Smith. As there you see him battling with Daniel Dill. This would be for the 16th position right now, so would have to assume there was a penalty somewhere there for the 24, at least an incredibly bad pit entry. And there is Evan Pienta battling right now with in the 26th position after that unsafe pit entry penalty, battling with the number 1 of Chris Brown. I do not believe that is for position.
It's not. Brown is running 13th right now.
Yep, it is.
Okay, so Jordan Smith popped for speeding in. Pienta unsafe pit entry and speeding.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a double whammy right there. Is Jonathan Leach just coming out of pit road after a 45-second pit stop.
Popped for speeding in.
Yep.
Badly.
We love you, but it's been a rough night. As we're watching Jordan Smith now battling now in the 12th position as pit cycle is starting to find actually we're having a little bit of a technical issue here. As Randy Bechtel is not where he is supposed to be. There is Chase Barry, and there is Randy Bechtel. Okay, now we got ourselves sorted out on the time pylon there. Well, SDK is fun sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, that's why I don't use it. Oh, wait, that's right. I don't run cameras for the company.
You don't run much of anything lately. As Randy Bechtel fighting with Chase Barry now for the race lead. Barry has gotten away from Ryan Jones. Jeff Pogo now has caught up to the back of Ryan Jones in that number 4. So Pogo, this looked like his best run of the season so far in that number 4.
As long as he can keep the car out of trouble, we've seen him have strong runs all season long so far. It's just victim of circumstance. We've seen that with a lot of guys. Chris Brown being another one, victim of circumstance a lot of times. So, if they can keep the cars clean and out of trouble, then they've been strong.
We started to talk about him before the pit cycle. The driver of the number 33, Jeff Chandler, was around at Chicagoland, has had a fantastic run here tonight, sitting in a top 5 position. That's on pit strategy and raw pace from this 33. He is quick, and he's about to get up into the podium positions if he can make these 2 passes that are right ahead of him here. He's quick.
Well, there he goes, working the inside of Pogo right now. And Jones is right there, right for the pick, and if he can get by Pogo. But, again, Jones and Pogo started to turn the wick up a little bit. But no one's turned the wick up quite as much as Chandler. Started 21st, did not even post a time in qualifying. Apparently wanted to see what was going to happen on lap 1 and let the melee happen in front of him. And that strategy seems to be paying off right now.
And Jeff Chandler right now on that last lap, not this one crossing the line, but the one previous, Chandler was the fastest driver, well, and still this lap even, the fastest driver by over a tenth out of anyone in the top 5. So that 33 is rolling here tonight.
All about the chrome.
Yep, exactly. Yep. We're talking about racing stripes being worth a couple horsepower. Chrome certainly is worth a couple as well.
Chrome always makes you faster.
Yeah, just basic. This is just basic knowledge you're learning here on ESPN.
Trust me, I used to work in the Cup garage. I know this.
So again, and again, same thing, a 30.84 for Jeff Chandler that last lap. Randy Bechtel ran a 30.88 in that race lead, so that 33 is absolutely flying. As we hit the century mark here in tonight's race, the Husker Hounds 240 at Kansas, round 4 for season 5 of the United Sim Racing Association Cup Series. We will be right back here momentarily after this quick break to bring you the rest of tonight's action. Randy Bechtel leading from Chase Barry. We'll be right back in a moment. We welcome you back here to the Husker Hounds 240 for the United Sim Racing Association Cup Series Round 4 of their 5th season. Frank Marchese, Tony Trapasso in the booth with you here tonight. We thank you very much for making us a part of your Thursday night. You're watching high above the Kansas Speedway as Randy Bechtel is being caught up by Chase Barry in the number 11. 109 laps into this race, still one more pit stop to be had, and still not a caution in sight.
And
Don't
since
say it.
Frank just
Don't
Frank's
say it.
just jinxed us, you get your hate mail coming. That's Frank Marchese, care of ESBN Towers, New York, New York, PO Box OU812.
I said that about 3 times under the caution flag, under the caution flag there, during the break, and it didn't count because it was under break. Every broadcaster knows that.
Yeah, but now you said it on the air.
And that's also very true as we take a look at the race lead. But we're going to go back a little bit here as Troy Torgerson now fighting with Aaron Diefler and Roy Lehmans. That is a battle for the 8th position right now between those guys. See down at the bottom of your screen there, Torgerson, Diefler, and Lehmans. Really the only 3 guys that are running close to each other for position in the midfield. And these guys, all 3 of them, have had a very solid night. Torgerson was up running in the top 3 for quite some time. Diefler's been a fixture in the top 10 tonight. And Lehmans, we know, has a quick car around a track like this. Got involved in an earlier incident with Pienta that set him all the way back into the 16th position, still trying to recover in that 74 Furniture Road Toyota.
Yeah, and he's doing what he's got to do. He's keeping the car relatively clean and trying to make things happen moving forward. As we've got some issues going on right now in the chatter.
Fortunately, since
Wow.
Tony's not the one broadcasting, there's some race chatter going on that he can listen to that we can't.
Apparently, Rhett Tucker not happy at all with Jeff Pogo.
Let's see if we can find. There is Jeff Pogo. And I believe, yep, Rhett Tucker is the car right up in front of him. Now, Tucker currently running several laps down right now in the 28th position, right behind Ryan Jones in the 91. But, yeah, if those 2 guys having a little bit of a back and forth.
Oh, okay, I see what's going on.
Guess somebody got into somebody?
Well, no, it's Tucker not happy with Jones, and Jeff Pogo race control.
Yep, stepped in
has
and said, "Nah,
just
not having that."
Yeah, he just disabled Tucker's chat.
There you go. See, these things. There's a bunch of competitive guys out here. You tell them not to take some of this stuff personally during a race, at least. It's not going to happen. These guys, all of them, want to win, even if they really don't have a chance. Like Rhett Tucker, unfortunate to say, again being about 3 or 4 laps down in the 28th position right now, 27th position right now. Not looking good as far as a chance to win this race with just about 50 laps.
Caution's out.
Yeah, and there we go. There's the first caution. It's Jeff Winter in the 30 is the caution. We'll see if we can get a look at what happened to Jeff Winter. And think iRacing is not going to play nice, as yep, there he is stopped, so we're not going to see, I don't think, what happened. We'll try this. Yeah, no, we're unfortunately not going to be able to see what happened as Winter forced to stop it on the racetrack coming through, going into turn 3. So that will officially be caution number 1. Tony, thank you very much for jinxing it. Appreciate you for that.
I just saw what happened. He got it sideways coming off of 2 and just got cranked from behind. The one of Chris Brown, nowhere to go, as Winter was trying to keep it off of the outside wall, just flat ran him over. Nowhere to go.
doesn't look like there's a lot of damage on the front end of that number 1, so it must have been
There's a lot of damage on the back of the 30.
it must have been some sort of netcode damage, at least for the 1, as caution flag pit stops are in effect right now. First time we've seen these guys come in under caution. This is going to be set 3 of 5 that these guys have. And Tony, looking at the amount of laps we have left here in this race, this is just outside that pit window to be able to make it the rest of the way on fuel.
It's going to be close.
Bechtel wins the race off pit road.
It is definitely going to be close, and it's going to be fun to see. Is anybody going to try it? Because we've seen a couple of times already this season throughout our broadcasts. No way he's making it. No way he's making it. Well, yeah. I've had drivers prove me wrong 4 times already this season.
So Bechtel will retain control of the race lead. The first round of pit stops that we had took place on lap 44. All assumption being there's going to be about 46, 47 laps to go by the end of this race. Second round of pit stops happened 42 laps into the run. So unless these guys were playing it safe on the first run, they might need to stop off for a splash and go if this race were to go green the rest of the way. If the caution comes out, it's obvious everybody's coming in. But if this thing stays green, we are right on the edge on the pit window.
And you're already seeing guys start to try to save.
Oh, yes.
So
guys who have a clutch are praising that thing right now. Being able to essentially shut that engine off and coast under these caution flag laps are going to be absolutely monumental, could be absolutely monumental when it comes to a win or running out of fuel. There you see the race leader, Randy Bechtel. The guys in front of him, I would have to assume, have elected now. They've dug their own graves, and they're electing to take the wave around. That would be the 13 of Jamie Leach, Rhett Tucker, Daniel Dill, and the 6 of Dale Eland Jr. Those guys have elected to take the wave around as we now get the 1 to go. As there goes Eland, finally off and around.
So that's going to put the 13 of Leach back on the lead lap. It's going to put Dill 1 lap down, Eland 2 laps down, and Tucker 3 laps down. So
there you see the 13 of Jamie Leach trying to get around to the back of this field are those 3. So it will be Randy Bechtel, Chase Barry on the front row for this restart here. Jeff Chandler and Justin Winters, row 2. Jeff Pogo, Luke LaFaro in row 3. Roy Lehmans and Tommy Cannon, row 4. Jordan Smith and Ryan Jones will make up row 5 on this restart. Tony, why don't you bring him down, bud?
As field works its way out of the turn 4 complex, getting ready for that pace car to make that hard left turn onto pit road. Bechtel has the button. He can fire off anytime he feels like it. Holds them down a little bit as they come into the restart zone. Finally, the green flag comes out. He pulls the trigger, and we are back underway as Chandler not getting the restart he needed, but Chase Berry right in lockstep with your leader, Randy Bechtel, as they haul it off into turn number 1.
Chandler able to get in line on that inside lane. Now the inside lane for turns 1 and 2 on the restart is going to be absolutely paramount. You're going to see them moving up the racetrack the later the run goes on. As there you see the 33 already trying to make up some headway on that inside. That 33 of Chandler's going right to the lead.
Trying to get a 2 for, gets the slide job coming off a 4, and just like that, Jeff Chandler from the outhouse to the penthouse.
Good lad.
You're welcome. And he's bringing Justin Winters with him as Chandler just shot out of a cannon right now.
You saw Jeff Pogo slide up in between Bechtel and Chase Barry. So that inside line here on this restart really helping some guys make some headway. Justin Winters up into the second position. Haven't spoken a word about Luke LaFaro in that DC Solar number 20 Toyota. He's battling now for the third position with Randy Bechtel on the outside. He's going to get the move done before the back straightaway. Can he hold it, though, going into 3? That's the question.
It looks like he's going to be able to hold it, and Bechtel under heavy pressure right now from Roy Lehmans, as Lehmans is facing trouble from Jordan Smith. Smith we saw have some problems earlier getting onto and off of pit road. And he's taking it to Lehmans right now. And Bechtel almost into the wall as Smith hits the apron and has to chase it coming off of 2.
Yeah, this is getting a little wild here. We saw that caution was exactly what Jordan Smith needed. It was exactly what you would have thought that Alex Huffman would have needed in the 25. He's still sitting mired back in the 14th position, not really making much room, making much of a move up towards the front as these guys up here for the lead are battling it out. Chandler and Winters now battling for the race lead. Chandler has it. Winters wants it. Has a big run coming down the back straightaway. Unfortunately, he's not going to get close enough, or at least I thought. Makes the move going down into turn 3. Will he be able to slide up in front of the 33? Yes, he will, but Chandler has one heck of a run.
What's good for the goose is good for the gander. That's the exact same move that Chandler used on Bechtel to get the lead away from him. Now Winters using it on him to get it back. Slides up, and here we go again. These guys just swapping it out back and forth as LaFaro right there within striking distance.
I mean, that just goes to show right there the run that you get on the outside lane as, that run that you get on the outside lane as compared to a guy coming off of the bottom. You really have little to no chance at defending that run, and Chandler just used it 3 wide between the 24, 74, and 29.
These guys flat getting it as everybody's getting a little squirrely coming off of 4. Is Bechtel able to hang on to it, and now Lehman's in a meat sandwich between Smith and Diefler on the high side. Finally get it sorted out as the 24 of Smith wisely backing off. As you see Roy Lehman's on the inside, all sorts of squirrely as the 4 of Pogo working to the inside of the 20 of LaFaro.
LaFaro able to hold off that third position, but for how long? As there goes Pogo sliding up. Bechtel got a good run. He's going to take that to the inside of the 20 of Luke LaFaro. Bechtel now will dive under the 4 of Jeff Pogo going into turn 1, but Pogo's going to have that momentum. Bechtel's going to have the run, and unfortunately he's going to get picked by Diefler, not allowing the 4 to go to the inside as early as he wanted to. Still gets to the inside of that 29, but is not going to have nearly the room that he would have had if that 41 wasn't there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's one of those deals where everybody's on fresh tires, everybody's getting racy, everybody's getting chippy as we're 13 laps to go next time across the stripe. Chandler
33.
and
said 33 to go as Bechtel takes over the third position.
36 to go this time across the stripe. As Chandler and Winters starting to really stretch their legs over Bechtel right now. Bechtel finally getting it sorted out with Pogo and LaFaro, but these guys are still getting a little chippy in the mid-pack, especially right around where Chase Berry is, and Berry was not looking forward to this caution coming out.
No, he certainly was not. He had Bechtel pretty much all to himself as he's now coming under fire from the 25 of Alex Huffman. And I know what you guys are thinking. You come to ESPN to watch the racing action, not for our math skills, as we both fouled up how many laps there were coming down towards
I'm a
the
core
end
math.
of this race. It's still Jeff Chandler leading from Justin Winters. Those guys have about a little bit more than a half a second gap on Randy Bechtel, Jeff Pogo, and Luke Lafaro rounding out the top 5. Aaron Diefler sitting in that number 41 in the 6th position. Roy Lehman's starting to recover after getting that much-needed caution. He is up to 7th. Ryan Jones, who we saw leading this race earlier after the pit cycle, is now up to 8th.
And Jones has definitely turned the wick up as you're seeing his lap times not be that far off of what everybody around him is running. As Lafaro gets a little bit of a twitch coming off of 4, and Pogo eats the wall going into 3.
Yeah, these guys are getting really close to the wall. But as you said that Jones was turning up the wick here on this run. Could that be that he is committed? You know what? I'm running this thing into the ground, and I'll stop for a splash and go. Or does he think he has just enough fuel to be able to make it the rest of the way?
With where he's running, I said he's not falling off, because if you took a look at what his first run was, it wasn't until after about 25 laps that his lap time started to be vastly different from those around him. But he was running the same lap times as before, as Lafaro goes for a wild one going through 1 and 2. But I don't think he's turning the wick up as much as... Oh! There's a caution.
Still green.
Wow.
Now the caution does come out, as that was Ryan Jones in the 91. That happened while we were on board with the 4 of Jeff Pogo, and you could see the rear end damage on that number 91. And boy, oh boy, it looks like Zach Calloway involved in that incident as well. Let's take a look back now at what brought out that caution.
Case Berry just took a race car to the face.
40 is a 74 of Lehman's. Oh my goodness, that was a big one. And that starts with the 74 of Lehman's and the 41 of Diefler getting connected going into 3, and then just the massive amounts of cars all throughout there. It's the 55 of Zach Calloway. Jordan Smith was involved in that as well, as there were a lot of beat up race cars on that incident. As now they're coming in, this is it. This will be the money stop here for these guys.
It should be. I dare say everybody has already used their tires up until this point. They've got a set in reserve, and this would be the time to use them.
You said 4 sets you could change on to, yes?
5 total. So yeah, they start with 1, and then change on to. So
this would be the 4th.
Yeah.
As you saw,
well, this would be the fourth tire stop that they've had. So
yeah, so this would be it as far as their tires are concerned. As you saw Jeff Chandler win the race off of pit road. Justin Winters in the 2nd position coming off of the pit stop. So while we have a second here, we're just at 30 laps to go here in this race. We will take one final break. We will be right back to Kansas Speedway to bring you the end of the Husker Hounds 240 from Kansas Speedway for the United Sim Racing Association Cup Series. We'll be back right after this. We're going to take the green flag here for the USRA's Husker Hounds. 2:40 here at Kansas with 27 laps to go. Jeff Chandler leading Justin Winters here on this restart after our second caution of the evening. Pace car makes the move off. Jeff Chandler leads them down, gets just before the restart zone, and fires away. We are back green flag racing here. Chandler out to a huge lead, and that's going to help probably his toughest competition with Randy Bechtel get to the inside of Justin Winters and around him going through 1 and 2.
Ogo going to be able to get around Winters as well, as we've said it time and time again. The most difficult restart spot in the sim is starting in second place on the outside of row 1. Oh!
That had to have been lag. Nope, caution is out.
Wow.
I don't think the caution is out for what we think the caution is out for. So what we're seeing here now is
he just had a throughput.
This is the reason for the caution. Jamie Leach, Daniel Dillon, Tommy Cannon with a huge wreck coming through 3 and 4. That is what the caution is for. I'll show it to you again from overhead as Dill got slowed up big time after contact with the 1. And those guys got big time damage out of that, but you said somebody had throughputed.
Yeah, the 41 of Diefler just throughputed.
Okay, so
and the 81's Oculus shut off.
Oh, there you go. So that's why the 81 looked like he stopped going through 3 and 4. And again, that's what caused the caution, not the 41 of Diefler just taking a one-way trip to Hogwarts.
Yeah. And he just, you know, that's one of those, thank God this is a simulator kind of moments, because if that had happened in the real world, that
he's in some pain.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been, what was the race on Sunday where the driver's lucky to be alive?
Oh, Grosjean, the F1 race.
Yeah, where the hell were they?
Dramatic, but still, that's...
No, but it would have definitely, you know, resulted in...
Yeah,
I mean, it would have resulted in using a shop vac to extricate the driver from the car, because he would have been liquefied at 150 miles an hour into a concrete wall.
That was almost some hit that we saw Aaron Diefler take right there. And again, you saw the caution between the 81, the 47, and the 13, which is why we are under our third caution of the evening with 24 laps to go here at the Kansas Speedway. And you always hear it, cautions breed cautions. It's the kind of stuff that happens at the end of these races. We went, 120 or so laps green here to start this race, but now we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. Guys are starting to make up time, make up positions, and they're seeing with how close everybody is now, this is their chance to do that, and they're taking the chances when they come.
In this late in the race, you kind of expect it. Yeah. You know, we're inside 20 to go, and with as difficult of a track as this is to pass that, anytime you get the opportunity, you've got to take it, even if it's a slim opportunity. You just throw it in there and hope for the best, and that's about all you can do at this point in time.
Now, one guy who we have seen take plenty of advantage of late race cautions this season is the driver of the 25. That is Alex Huffman. Huffman had a pit road penalty back at Chicagoland 3 weeks ago. He got caught up in the back of the field. That long green flag run kept him there. Got a couple of late race cautions, and wins the race in the green-white checkers. So that 25 right now, sitting in the 6th position, is poised to have a repeat of Chicagoland if he can get up to the front.
Well, I mean, similar things happened tonight. He got caught up in a pit road speeding penalty early on here as well. So, the more things change, the more they stay the same. As, he was restarting inside the top 6 at Chicago as well. So, it's about to get fun, ladies and gentlemen, so buckle up.
Instead of 2 laps to go, he has 22 laps to try to get to the front of the field to round this race out. Randy Bechtel was the race leader when the caution came out, so he has race lead right now from Jeff Chandler. Justin Winters and Jeff Pogo will be on the 2nd row. Luke Lafaro and Alex Huffman on the 3rd row. Troy Torgerson and Roy Lehmans on the 4th row. And Jordan Smith, who was involved in the 2nd caution, and Clint Castleberry round out the top 10 positions. There's another driver we haven't talked about at all tonight. The driver of the 9, Stephen Holmes, has had a very quiet night, did not participate in qualifying, now up in the 11th position.
As the field works its way out of the turn 4 complex, Bechtel going to have the button one more time. The pace car is in. Bechtel can fire off whenever he wants to. Keeps him held down, though. They get into the making power zone, and we are back underway as immediately Jeff Chandler changes lanes and throws the block on Pogo.
Yeah, and usually when you wait that late on a restart, that usually means you're going when the green flag comes out in the sim, and so you can time it a heck of a lot better when you're on that outside line, as now Pogo and Chandler battling for that 2nd position. Winters on the inside lane in that number 52 is going to take over that 3rd position, but for momentarily not able to clear Pogo. However, Chandler was. Chandler now in the middle of 3 wide between Winters and Pogo, trying to hold on.
And
wow, Winters.
Oh, hang on to her.
Wow. Boy, Winters tried to slide up in front of the 33. Now Pogo in the 33, baiting and banging down the racetrack. That puts the 33 into the wall. The 4 of Jeff Pogo is now spinning through 3 and 4 after getting hit by Luke Lafaro. Somehow there is still not a caution. Cars still wrecking. And now finally comes the 4th caution of the night. What in the world?
You know as well as I do that as a driver, the most feared phrase heard from your spotter's lips are 3 wide, you're the meat.
Yep.
In other words, you're the meat in the sandwich, and that's never a good thing, especially at the tight confines that, this track is. You can run 3 wide, but the thing is, I wouldn't suggest it.
There's Luke Lafaro's car all torn up. Roy Lehman slow on the apron with damage. Jeff Chandler in pit road. That wonderful run that he had completely spoiled. Jeff Pogo with damage as well. I mean, this was an absolute mess. And we're going to try to sort this out here. Just so much happening in such a short amount of time. And we'll try to get this as Winters coming right up on Pogo. Let's get to the helicopter view here. I guess we're not going to see the helicopter view, at least from there.
And for some reason, the sim was not throwing the caution under that one. So race control manually had to throw it.
And that was, pardon me, that was the back end of that incident there. We'll try to get, yep, here we go. This is looking a little bit better. There's a little bit of contact there between those guys. Now you're going to see Pogo and Chandler get into it at the top of the track. There's Chandler. There's the first little bump. And boy, Pogo trying to get back onto the racetrack, just body slammed the 74 of Lehman's through 3 and 4. And then still even Luke Lafaro having his own little incident there in the 20. Somebody else off in the grass as well. I believe that might be, as a matter of fact, I'm not sure who that was on the inside there, but that was a lot that was happening there. And surprisingly, again, as you said, no genuine caution coming out for that.
Right, and I don't fault race control for the decision that they made.
No, not at all.
That was the best decision that could have been made at that point, because if these guys had continued to try to race this, that would have led to more torn up race cars and more hurt feelings.
No, absolutely. That I'm surprised the caution didn't come out sooner, honestly, after that incident. But talking about...
Yeah, especially when the 33 shoots up the track sideways to the racing line.
I mean, that was about as crazy a wreck as you could have had there. It ended in turn 4. It really started in the middle of 1 and 2.
Yeah. And it goes back to what we were saying. Everybody's trying to get everything they possibly can with the lap starting to wind down here. I mean, we're 16 to go right this second. And it comes back to cautions breed cautions.
And there's the 52 of Justin Winters. He was really the start of that after Pogo had gotten into him, got him knocked sideways. And because he had to back off as much as he had to, still ends up with a clean race car, clean enough race car. Sitting now in the 7th position is Justin Winters. A couple of other guys, again, as I mentioned, that 25 of Huffman, 2nd position right now.
Yeah, and look who's starting right behind him.
Yep.
The 24 of Jordan Smith. So, this is still going to be a barn burner coming down to the finish here.
We'll talk about guys who have made who have taken every ounce of advantage they could have found through these caution flags. The 24 and 25 have done exactly that. Also, we started to talk about him just as we were about to go green. That 9 of Stephen Holmes has done an absolutely fantastic job tonight, getting up into the position he's in. Currently running in the 6th position is Stephen Holmes. A little bit of a different look from what we're used to seeing on that number 9. But Holmes, again, quiet night doesn't necessarily mean a bad night.
Absolutely. Now he's got to deal with a car that's been fast most of the night. Is the 52 of Justin Winters, starting behind him to the inside. And there's the 02 of Clint Castleberry. Castleberry's been quick all night, too.
He has been. And a couple of guys that we're seeing up here for the first time, Matt McMeekin in the 14, Evan Pienta in the 16, the points leader, Thomas Ogle, 2nd in points. These are guys that we're all seeing back up here for the first time in quite some time here as the pace car ducks off. Bechtel will hold them down yet again. Here he goes. We're back racing. 14 laps to go here in Kansas.
And keep your eye on the 24 and 25 as they were getting chrome horns being used and beating and banging on each other. And whoa, hang on to her son.
That's the 98 of Troy Torgerson on the inside of the 24. Torgerson will make it stick. How about Clint Castleberry up into the 5th position? Justin Winters now trying to take it on the inside. Evan Pienta in the 16 now finds his way up into the 7th position after a horrid start. But this battle here for the race lead is intense as there goes Jordan Smith. He's had the short run car all night long. He's looking to use it now.
Torgerson was looking to try to get through there as well. Got a little bit sideways coming through 1 and 2. He's going to have to slot into 3 position. Now he's 3 wide for 3rd.
Yep, that's Justin Winters on the inside. Torgerson in the middle. Huffman on the outside lane. They make it through 3 and 4. They're still 3 wide here. Bechtel and Smith come across the line in a virtual tie as the top 5 drivers separated by about 1/10 of a second.
And this is far from over as we are closing in on 10 to go. Smith and Bechtel still in lockstep. Here comes the 25 of Huffman trying to make something happen on the high side. You got to wonder how much longer can the 52 and the 24 hold those lower lanes. The top side looks like it's starting to come in again.
Yep, as Bechtel and the 25 of Huffman start to take the advantage of that outside lane. Also taking the advantage of that high lane is the 02 of Clint Castleberry. He's working his way up here, still sitting in the top 5, battling Justin Winters for 4th.
This is still anybody's race as we still have a lot of racing left to go as we are going to be 10 to go this time across the stripe. Bechtel, Huffman, Smith, Winters, and Castleberry, your top 5. Troy Torgerson right there as well in that Navy 98.
And Bechtel finally now makes it clear between the 24 and the 25, so Bechtel now can start to try to run away. Look at Chris Brown in the 5th position now, the 3rd car on that inside lane, that red number 1, battling door to door with Clint Castleberry, taking that middle line. It may not be the preferred outside line, but there's a heck of a lot more banking in the middle than there is on the bottom.
Absolutely is. You're seeing these guys start to steadily work their way towards that wall again.
Yep,
Whoa!
9 in the wall. That was the 9.
I'm looking at the
wall.
25 splitting the gap. The 24 was holding him down, and 25 just full send it mode into turn 1. Almost got into Bechtel, almost got into Smith. Somehow we didn't have a wreck there. As Bechtel keeps his foot in it and on the high side, and Huffman drag race to the stripe for, give it to Bechtel that lap, as we're going to be 6 to go next time across the stripe.
It's amazing. These 3 were the ones that were battling before the first round of pit stops, and wouldn't you know it, back again up here at the top are the 29, 25, and 24. Now, the 25 and 24 have won races already this season. Bechtel has not in the 29. Neither has Justin Winters. So you know Bechtel is going to want to put some security on his name by getting the win here tonight. Oh, they're wrecking in the back. I believe that was the 9 of Stephen Holmes. Yep, it was.
Yes, it was.
As there's Holmes. Stop. There's Rhett Tucker as well. We just saw him.
Ooh.
We're going to see what happened here with Stephen Holmes. Matt McMeekin involved as well in the 14. Here's Holmes. They come. Oh, McMeekin just looks like he slides up.
Whoa.
Maybe thought he was clear. And boy, oh boy, Rhett Tucker. And I think that was Eric Holly.
Keep your eye on the 14.
We'll go through this incident one more time here. See the 14 just move up. Comes back up right across the track hard into the 00 of Rhett. Whoa.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it's aliens, but it's netcode.
Yeah, that's paging the Men in Black.
Yeah. That was... it's a good shot when the blimp cam has to pan up to follow your car.
We were in the helicopter. We were in the helicopter cam there for that one. Oh boy. So we are, I think we might be in green-white checkered territory without officially having a green-white checkered. Under our 5th caution of the evening here tonight, Randy Bechtel able to maintain race lead, Jordan Smith and Justin Winters taking over the 3rd place position from Alex Huffman in the 25, Chris Brown in 5th, Torgerson 6th, Castleberry 7th, Evan Pienta in 8th, Thomas Ogle 9th, Luke LaFaro, with all the front end damage that number 20 has, still holding on to a top 10 position.
Nothing short of miraculous because that car looks like it's been through a demolition derby.
He actually has a front end on that car. Last time we saw it was he did not have that front bumper on the car. It's certainly not a pristine front bumper, but he has one at least. As, boy, 5 laps to go. We are in, well, 4 to go coming at the line. We're going to be in for another Chicago-style mad dash.
Katie, bar the door and put the kids to bed because it's about to get adult time.
This has come right down to it. A race that went about 120 laps green to start the race. Has now had 5 cautions in the last 40 laps. And this one hopefully is going to provide the most excitement we would have to assume.
Absolutely is. This is far from over, and we've seen a lot of battling going on. Place your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Who's your pick? Let us know in the chat, because this one is far from over.
I believe we had 2 at Chicagoland, 2 green, white checkered attempts.
We did have 2, but again, with this being far from over, and
available is more that I was.
I think it was 3.
Okay.
No, it was 2.
Okay, so 2 green, white checkered attempts
are
on offer.
It was 2. We only needed 1 at Chicago. But let us know who your choice is, and while you're there, don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe, share, turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a moment of action, because we've got a lot of championship races coming up that we're going to go over before this broadcast is over, as to what's coming up broadcast-wise. But you're not going to want to miss a second of any of the action on ESPN, especially not tonight, as it looks like we are going to have a green-white checker that is going to be a natural green-white checker.
It's an unofficial green-white checkered. So we will restart this race with 2 laps to go. Restart coming on lap 164 of the original 166. If a caution comes out prior to the white flag, we will have our first official green-white checkered restart. So this does not count towards the 2 green-white checkered overtime restarts. And Tony, I think it's about time. I think this is kind of the perfect scenario for you to get him going.
Bechtel has the button as they work their way into the 3-4 complex. He's got Jordan Smith, he's got Austin Winters, and he's got Alex Huffman all around him. Don't count out Chris Brown. Don't count out Troy Torgerson. And don't count out Evan Pienta. As the pace car gets ready to make that hard left turn onto pit road, like he's been doing all night, though, Bechtel holds him down and finally pulls the trigger. We are back underway. Jordan Smith spins the tires on the outside lane, stacks it up just a little bit, as Justin Winters gets a great jump on the inside as they're side by side down into turn number 1.
And that was about as good a start as Bechtel could have hoped for. He gets out in front and doesn't have to worry about being harassed by the 24 or the 52. Heading into turn 3, though, he's being very cautious of that inside line. Look at Winters, the 24 getting sideways in the middle of the field. But the battle is for the lead. Still sideways is the 24 of Jordan Smith. Somehow keeps it going. White flag in the air.
One more time around Bechtel with it relinquishes the lead as Winters full send-it mode going through 1 and 2. Side-by-side drag race as they haul it off into turn number 3. Bechtel with a nose out front on the high line.
Yep, Bechtel, it's going to be a photo finish here coming to the line. Justin Winters on the inside. Randy Bechtel on the outside, sliding behind them. They make contact at the line. It's going to be Randy Bechtel winning the Husker Hounds 240 and a huge wreck behind them. But Randy Bechtel takes his first win of the season on a night where he certainly was the driver to beat.
Wow.
And that was incredible. What a finish.
Chris Brown just caught more airtime than the skateboard at the X Games.
Yeah, we did see that on the live shot, and we will go back and show a replay of that incident. But there he is. There is your race winner, Randy Bechtel. His first win of the season, the dominant car on the long run all night long. And what a finish, too. Just some incidental contact sent Winters down. Winters only losing by 6/100ths of a second.
You knew he was going to have to do something because Winters was hard charging. After the 24 of Jordan Smith got sideways, the 52 of Winters had a head of steam, and you knew there was going to be a meeting of the minds.
There certainly was. As there you see the podium finishers, and Troy Torgerson comes out of here with another podium finish. His second of the season, and Randy Bechtel again coming home your race winner tonight. And just what a night it was here at Kansas. A great run of green flag racing, and then the entertainment came, and as you do, an incredible finish to end the night off, as we have Randy Bechtel here with Tony Trapasso. Randy, Tony, take it away, bud.
Randy Bechtel, class of the field all night long. Talk us through what was going on coming through the final lap there. Did you happen to see what was going on with the 24? Was he got completely sideways coming off of 4?
Not really. I was just trying to figure out a way to get back by Justin, since he got in front of me there.
Well, you were able to finally figure out how to get by him, and talk us through what was going on as you guys were coming to the checkers. A little beating and banging going on, but all's fair in love and racing, I guess, right?
Yeah, a little bumping and banging didn't hurt anybody, right?
Yeah, no, we had a couple. Thank God this is a simulator moments, though.
Well, at least we didn't fully wreck. I think he still got second, right?
He did get second, but let's talk about your car. Early on, you were battling with the 25 and the 24 during that first long set of green flag runs. Your car really seemed to come alive after about 20 laps. Is it just the fact that you were a little more mindful of the fact of trying not to burn the right front off the car, or was it just your car just wasn't falling off like theirs was?
I was trying my best to save, getting off the throttle a little bit in turns more than the 24, which honestly, I was telling my teammate who's running behind me, Chase, in 11, I feel like we waited too long on that first run to get by him, because once I made that, what I would have said is a slide job to get by him, we pulled away from him.
Well, under those green flag pit stops, we saw a lot of guys get popped for speeding on or unsafe pit entry. How difficult was it for you to get onto pit road here tonight?
I was honestly taking it pretty safe, to be honest. Every time we pit with Chase, I'm like, just take it easy so we don't get caught, and we'll be fine.
Well, fine you were, but just congratulations on the victory. You finally got that breakthrough victory of the season, and definitely a hard fought, well earned victory. And we're at Darlington next week, so what can we expect out of the team next week going into arguably one of the granddaddies of all speedways?
I think we'll do pretty good. Last year, USRA, I think I got third, led the most laps there, but a lot of new faces. So we'll see. I don't know how some of these guys do at Darlington.
Well, is it a track that's going to fall into your wheelhouse, or is it something that you're going to struggle at?
I think I'll do pretty good. Like I said, got third last year. Although I did have some encounters with the wall, but
Oh,
everyone does. So
well, it's not Darlington unless you leave with the stripe.
right.
Anybody you want to thank before we let you go, Randy?
I want to thank my teammates Chase Berry and Aaron Daffler. They apparently had another bad night again, so sucks for them. USRA for putting on the race. You guys for broadcasting it. I think that's it.
All right. Well, your winner, Randy Bechtel. Looking forward to seeing you next week at Darlington.
Thank you.
And that was your race winner, Randy Bechtel, with Tony there. Coming up with me here right now is the second place finisher here tonight, Justin Winters. And see if we can get him in here. Yep, we do have him. Justin, second place finish, a little bit of beating and banging towards the end of that race. Certainly a close one. What did it look like from your point of view?
Yeah, it was tight. It was tight corners racing. It's racing. It's racing for the win. It's fair game. It was fun. I had fun racing Randy, Troy, my teammate Alex, and Jeff Chandler, and some of the guys up here. It was fun racing up front for once.
I was just going to say, this was by far and away the best performance you've had so far this season. What was it about Kansas that brought out the best in you tonight?
Just kind of leaning on my teammate a little bit. Watching him run a little bit in practice kind of helped me learn how to, save my equipment and kind of a pit strategy race as well. Save my stuff, pit, later. So just kind of leaning on him a little bit because he's fast everywhere. So it kind of helped me out a lot.
Did you feel as though you were going to have an advantage starting in third place on that final restart, or was it kind of just wait and see how it went?
Absolutely. The bottom line was moving all night long on restarts. Top line was after 4 or 5 laps, the top line would come in, but off a restart, I think it was a green white checker without the actual green white checker to finish the race. I thought I was in perfect position. I made a pretty gutsy move on Randy. Thought I was in position to possibly win the race. He got the run on the outside and gave her a little tap, and the rest is history.
Yeah, it certainly was. And next week we're going to be wall riding again. This time a little bit tighter confines at Darlington Raceway. Next week, what are your thoughts going into the race at the Lady in Black?
Better start practicing now. Not very good there, but we'll see what happens. Again, lean on my teammate and see if I can't come out of there with a top 10, top 5 finish.
Fair play there. Anyone you want to thank before we let you go tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank Allen's Body Shop for being on the car, Huffman Designs for painting the car, Boots Manufacturing for allowing me to work there. Kind of want to, say I was racing with a heavy heart last week. One of my actual boss passed away, so prayers go out to his family, and that's about it. And Chevrolet for letting me drive Chevrolet cars.
All right. And so with that, Bud, we congratulate you on your second place finish here tonight. Have a good one.
All right, thanks.
So that was your second place finisher, Justin Winters. We now move on to our third place finisher here tonight, Troy Torgerson, and Tony is with Troy.
Troy Torgerson, you had some ups and downs all night long. We're able to salvage a third place finish out of this. Starting 14th, though, I use the term salvage loosely because you got towards the front early on and you stayed there. A little bit of a hiccup one time coming onto pit road. Talk us through how your night went.
I think salvage is the perfect word, man. Yeah, it was an up and down night. Not real happy with the qualifying there. We got some track position by some mishaps by some other people and stuff, and then had a first good pit stop there and got us from 8th up into the top 5, and then got got together with the 24 there, was running behind him for several laps there. He's stacking us up. I tried to get under him and lost it coming out of the corner, lost about 6 or 7 car lengths, gained it right back on him and tried to slide jump him coming out of 2 there. And I was clear, and then he put he wasn't going to give me any room, so we got pancaked the side of the wall there and wrecked the car and got it fixed under the first caution there, and then was able to weave myself back up into the top 3.
Well, congratulations on the podium this week. And we talk about pancake and walls. We're going to the Lady in Black next week. And if you don't leave there with at least one Darlington stripe, you ain't trying hard enough. Your thoughts going to the Lady in Black?
We got to run the high line there too. So I mean, it's hard to pass there, and it's just going to be, salvage another finish, I guess. I don't know, salvage or either salvage the car, one of the two.
That's usually the case whenever you go to Darlington. It's bring me the steering wheel or bring me the trophy. But Troy, Frank and I were both commenting early on in the race about the beautiful new paint scheme you got on that number 98 Chevy Camaro tonight.
Mustang, actually.
Talk us. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
Ford Mustang.
Mustang.
I'm sorry. Thought I saw a bow tie in the paint scheme.
No, it's a brand new paint job. Got my friend Gary Griffin did it for me. And it's brand new. I love it. I think it's really, really sharp looking, man, and I couldn't be happier.
All right. Well, Troy, is there anybody you want to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, thanks you guys for the broadcast. Thanks for USRA for letting me race here and putting on getting some good drivers in here, man. This is a tough crowd. You got to rely on some mistakes here by some other people in order to gain some positions like tonight. But I'm just glad to be here. Thanks for everything you guys do, man, and I look forward to next week.
All right. Well, Troy, you had a hell of a rebound run. Congratulations on the podium. We'll see you next week in Darlington.
Thanks a lot, guys.
All right, so that was your third place finisher here tonight, Troy Torgerson. And Tony, just puts an end to another wild night here. Another great close finish, but next week at Darlington, that's going to be one heck of a show.
Looking forward to it. Darlington is always a wild card race. I have yet to go to a Darlington race where I've left there and went, meh. It's either going to be a really good race or there's going to be a lot of pissed off drivers. And judging from what we've seen here tonight, it can go either way at this point.
We're going to go back here really quick before we go to the end of this race here. We're going to go back and just take a look at that final lap and everything and try to just dissect everything that happened on that final lap here. As you see, we're focusing on the 24 of Jordan Smith, who gets into it with the 9 just a little bit on the white flag lap. Slides up in front of the 9 here. Headed down the back straightaway, you can see 3 wide action in front of him. This is, of course, after his issue on the first lap. Wreck, I believe, is going to happen right up in front of him here, as there it is right there, a big accident involving the 02 of Clint Castleberry, the 1 of Chris Brown, I believe that might have been the 23 of Ogle that was involved in that as well. So that was the incident that happened on the final lap. And with that, we will now go to the final race results here for the Husker Hounds 240 at Kansas. You just heard from the podium finishers, Randy Bechtel, Justin Winters, Troy Torgerson. Bechtel taking the win by 6/100ths of a second over the driver of the 52. Alex Huffman finishing in the 4th position. Clint Castleberry, even in the wreck, finishes 5th. Evan Pinta in 6th. Chris Brown, 7th. Luke LaFaro, 8th. Thomas Ogle, 9th. Dale Elan Jr., we were talking about him being a couple laps down, taking a wave around with about 30 or so laps to go. Comes home to salvage a top 10 finish, so a great run from Elin Jr. in the 6th. Jordan Smith comes home in 11th. Steve Holmes in 12th. Jeff Pogo, 13th. Eric Holly comes home in 14th. Larry Poling, 15th. Matt McMeekin in 16th. Tommy Cannon, 17th. And Roy Lehmans in 18th, Tony.
Jeff Chandler coming home in 19th. 20th going to Rhett Tucker. Daniel Dill hanging on for 21st. 22nd going to Jamie Leach. Aaron Diefler in 23rd. 24th going to Ryan Jones in the 91. Not the night he was hoping for after getting caught up in that. That was a wow. That's about the only way I can describe that. Zach Calloway for 25th. The 26th going to Chase Berry. Again, another guy that was running up front all night long, getting caught up in another person's dumpster fire. Jeff Winter coming home in 27th. Jonathan Leach in 28th. Jared Hagedorn in 29th. 30th going to Mike March. Cody Levitt in 31st. And Jason Young rounding out the field in 32nd position.
So with that will do it for us here this evening on ESPN. Again, remember to subscribe to us on YouTube, like us on Facebook. Make sure you turn those bell notifications on so you get to see when all of our races come up. Tomorrow night, it will be Tony and myself in the booth for the third race of the 5-race playoff for the iRacing East Super Speedway Series. That will be at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time from Daytona in the Xfinity cars. The last time they will run the Xfinity cars on the season. On Saturday afternoon at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, it will be the E-Formula 3.5 Series. Myself and Tony in the booth for that. 44 laps at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Then at 6:50 on Sunday night will be the Chris Cup Sim Racing Series. They will be at Charlotte with Byron Rodney and Ernest King in the booth for that race. And then right after that, it'll be Tony and I in the booth once again for the MPI Cup Series race, their round of 8 race at Indianapolis on Sunday night. That race starting at 8:55 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also find that race on the iRacing Live portal as well. So for my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, I'm Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for joining us here tonight. We will see you with USRA next week at Darlington and tomorrow night from the Daytona International Speedway with the iRacing East Super Speedway Series. Have a fantastic night, everybody.